Hello, this is Peter Solie, candidate for the Kansas House of Representatives, 109th District. I want to take a minute to talk about the need for the freedom to fail. Let me give you a couple of reasons, but let's begin with the foundation. Because every time the legislature creates a protection, at the very same time they're building that protection, they're also building a barrier or a wall or a ceiling, something that prevents a good action. And I have some examples of how this is true. First, let's go to high school. It doesn't matter what the class is, if it's required, if the state of Kansas has required a certain class, that means that's a slot that can't be used in some elective that may turn out to be the spark for somebody, that changes their career goals, that allows them to choose something different, that in the ultimate sense may change the world. But they're taking a required course, and it isn't that the required course is bad. It's good knowledge. We need to be well-rounded individuals. But if what that does is it supplants an elective that would have made the difference for somebody, then it's bad. Changing topics just a little bit, the state of Kansas, along with virtually all governments, have instituted laws that punish the possession of what we would all agree are called illegal drugs. Such drugs are a really bad idea. They're extremely harmful. They do all kinds of damage. In the process of banning them or punishing the possession of them, the government has in effect created a marketplace that rewards drug cartels. It'll limit, and in addition to that really bad effect of the drug cartels, it also limits the ability of a person who unfortunately is addicted. If put yourself in that person's shoes, you're addicted to some drug, and right now, if you're in Kansas, your only choice is Russian roulette. Is the drug I just purchased on the street, does it contain fentanyl or does it not? And the person you're buying it from probably has no idea. If you wanted a drug without fentanyl, there's no way to legally purchase that in the state of Kansas. In fact, I believe that the opioid crisis has been created by the government. It's been created with the intent of protecting people from the evil, the danger of an addictive drug. It is correct that a person who is prescribed OxyContin will likely become addicted or dependent to that drug. But that means they are likely to be in less pain, and they will likely be chronically constipated. That's the one effect, besides the pain reduction, is chronic constipation. I have asked lots of people who are supposed to know, national journalists, medical professionals, and I have never found anybody who can point me to an example of where a person who is taking OxyContin as prescribed has died. People die of opioid overdoses all the time, and what they're dying of is fentanyl, and you're not getting, well, there are some cases where you get fentanyl from the doctor, but that's extremely rare. The fentanyl is mixed in with the drugs that people buy on the street. They shouldn't do it. I wish they weren't addicted, but they are addicted, and currently the government's choice is to say, no, don't do that. I don't know if you've noticed, but telling someone no, they can't do something that they desperately want to do doesn't work. I don't want people to be addicted to drugs. I don't want them to use drugs in the first place. But I think it's bad choice to block access to something that's safe versus essentially telling people, well, I guess go take your risk with what you can buy on the street. I do have praise. This past legislative session, House Bill 2477. The legislation waived many rules, such as allowing people who are licensed outside of the state of Kansas to practice in the state of Kansas, nurses, doctors. It allowed nurses to order tests. It allowed the formation or the creation of a new nursing home or facility in a very expedited manner. And this was all due to COVID. In 2022, it's okay to waive these rules. And my question is, why didn't we do this much earlier? Why haven't we been careful and said, let's get rid of some of these rules and regulations? They're not actually protecting people. What they're doing is creating a barrier to greater access to healthcare. And now my final example. When my boys were young, I cut their hair. And there's nothing illegal about that. As their father, I'm fully, there's no restriction on my ability to cut their hair. But if one of their friends had wanted me to cut their hair, and I would have accepted any money for it, that then becomes illegal. I have broken the law. And I want you to ask yourself, if you knew that a person was not licensed, so as part of my advertising, I would say I am not licensed, but as you can see, I do a good job of cutting hair. It should be your choice whether or not you want to walk through my door or make an appointment, allow me to cut your hair or whatever styling you wanted. And if you are fully aware that I am not licensed, it should be fully and exclusively a contract between you and I. The state of Kansas does not need to be involved in that contract. They are protecting you by requiring me to have a license in order to cut your hair. It does. It does protect. It does help. But how many people might find that, yeah, they could do this. They would be successful as a barber or beautician. But the state rushes in and clamps down that possible vocation for them and says, go invest a lot of money in order to find out if this is the right vocation for you. That's quite honestly their only answer. Go invest a lot of money rather than, I'm gonna try this. I've got 10 friends. I'm gonna let them, they are gonna allow me to test myself on them, and you do a good job, so you keep going. So after the first round, you want money for this. That becomes illegal. I don't think it's wrong. The state of Kansas believes that it's wrong. This list could go on, and I ask you to remember, I am not against licensing or standards. I'm against licensing or standards that block or hinder or punish the freedom of choice for those individuals that choose the alternative path. Again, I'm Peter Solie. I'm a candidate for the Kansas House of Representatives, 109th District. I'm endorsed by the Libertarian Party, and I will be on the November 8th ballot. Thank you very much.